All right, let's talk about Veeva Systems. This is a fascinating company. They're basically the essential digital partner for the entire $2 trillion life sciences industry. But here's the kicker. They're about to risk it all on the biggest strategic change in their entire history.
And just look at this chart. This really shows you the kind of durable, steady growth Veeva's been putting up. It's just a consistent climb, right? We're talking revenue that's going to push way past $3 billion. So, this isn't some flash-in-the-pan startup. This is a deeply established, very profitable market leader.
And that's what makes this so interesting, right? It brings us to the big question here. Why would a company that's so successful with this kind of momentum decide to basically blow things up and create its own biggest challenge? It's a super bold, really high-stakes move, and that's exactly what we're going to break down.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about just how dominant Veeva really is. Because, look, to understand the massive risk they're taking, you've got to appreciate the kingdom they've already built. See, Veeva isn't just any old software company. It's what's called an industry cloud. And what that means is they provide the essential digital backbone for the entire life sciences world. We're talking everything from super complex clinical trials all the way to how pharma giants manage their sales. It's incredibly specialized and really embedded in how these companies work.
And this super focused approach, well, it's earned them more than 1,400 customers. And these aren't small fish. We're talking the biggest names out there. Merck, Eli Lilly, Novartis. They don't just use Veeva, they literally run their most critical, regulated processes on it.
Now, this chart does a great job of showing how their business is balanced. It's almost a perfect 50-50 split. On one side, you've got the Commercial Solutions Cloud, that's for sales and marketing. And on the other, you've got their R&D Solutions Cloud, which is actually a little bigger and growing faster. That's the side that handles all the drug development and clinical trial stuff.
Okay, so you see this strong foundation they've built, right? Well, here's where we get to the core of the drama. Veeva is strategically divorcing its most important technology partner, Salesforce. Yeah, and this single move, it changes everything. For a long time, Veeva's main product for sales teams, their CRM, was actually built on top of Salesforce's platform. Think of it like they were renting the foundation for their house. Well, now they're moving out. They're shifting everything to their own in-house platform called Vault. And why? The goal is simple: total control. Control over their data, their products, and how fast they can innovate.
And yeah, the clock is absolutely ticking here. You can see on this roadmap there are some very hard deadlines. Their deal with Salesforce is up in 2025, and by 2030, all support for that old system is gone. Period. So this isn't optional. It forces every single customer to migrate. You can imagine, this creates a huge, high-stakes execution challenge for the whole company.
And let me be clear, this transition has to be flawless. I mean, for Veeva's customers, these giant pharmaceutical companies, any disruption to their sales, any little data problem, any downtime, it's just not an option. It's unacceptable, because even the tiniest bit of friction creates this golden opportunity for a competitor to come in and steal them away. And you better believe those competitors are not just sitting around watching. They see this whole situation not as Veeva's risk, but as their opening. This divorce has basically ignited a brand new battle for the entire life sciences software market.
And if you look at this table, you'll see the biggest threat is now Salesforce itself. The old partner is the new enemy. And they're not coming to this fight alone. Salesforce has teamed up with a data giant in this space, a company called IQVIA. And together, they're offering a really powerful alternative.
What's interesting is that industry experts are saying the winner here won't be decided by who has a few extra checkbox features. It's not about bells and whistles. The whole game is going to be won or lost on pure execution. The only question customers are going to ask is, who can I trust to move my mission-critical systems safely and without any drama?
So, this all brings us back to the core investment question, right? With all this enormous risk, what's the potential reward? You have to ask, is this massive bet on their own platform actually worth it?
And really, you can think of investing in Veeva right now as a two-sided bet. On one side, you have their fantastic high-margin R&D business. That thing is a durable, growing machine. But on the other side, you have this huge, high-stakes migration. The success of that bet hinges completely on whether they can pull off this complex platform shift flawlessly.
Now, if they succeed, the reward is massive. I mean, Veeva thinks their total market is over $20 billion. But here's the really important part. Look at this chart. More than 60% of that opportunity is in the R&D space. Clinical, quality, safety. The exact areas where Veeva is already the strongest and growing the fastest.
And get this, even with all their success, Veeva has only captured about 14% of that total market. That leaves a huge runway for future growth. If, and that is a very big if this whole platform bet pays off and they can keep their commercial business safe during the transition.
All right, so if you're an investor or just interested in this story, what should you be watching? What are the key signals that will tell you how this is all playing out? Let's put together a quick watch list for you.
Okay, so here's your checklist. First, keep an eye on that revenue mix. Is the R&D side still growing faster than the commercial side? That's what you want to see. Second, any news about the CRM migration? Are they hitting their deadlines? That's your #1 sign of good execution. Third, listen really closely to what management says on their earnings calls about competitive wins, especially against that new Salesforce and IQVIA team-up. And finally, of course, the fundamentals. Are their profit margins holding steady? And maybe the most important thing of all, what's their customer retention rate? If you see that number start to dip even a little, that is a huge red flag.
So in the end, it all comes down to one big question that's going to define Veeva's future. Is this incredibly bold, incredibly risky bet on themselves going to cement their monopoly for the next decade? Or is this the one single opening that all of their competitors have been waiting for? We're going to find out over the next couple of years, that's for sure.